Hey guys, this is Tanner Wirtz from Lspr PR. I'm one of the publicists and also one of the feature writers. I'm here with New England artist JJ Slater. We're here to talk about him, his new single, and what he has coming up for the rest of this year and leading into 2021. So, JJ, how you doing, man?
Good. How's it going?
Not too bad. Thanks for being here. I know you're in a remote location in your car, and but
Here?
obviously for service.
Yeah, for service. I live under a mountain, so Zoom calls are like, I mean, there's still lag. I'm in Western Massachusetts, so there's going to be like a pause between every like statement, probably. But like, yeah, it would be a mess if I tried to do it in my house. So I'm in a parking lot right now.
No, I feel that what I appreciate you making the accommodation, and
Hmm.
it's nice to meet you. I know we've been
Yeah.
talking through email mostly, so that's been awesome to put a face to the face, literally now.
Cool. Cool.
So, all right. So my first question is, what this is more like when you were starting out. What got you playing in like, excuse me, what got you into playing music? Starting out.
Well, I didn't really have any hobbies, I guess, when I was younger, and it was very immediate. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing with music is that like there was like other things you could try, growing up, and like with guitar instruments or whatever, like you could set like very specific goals that were very attainable within like a day. Like I want to learn this easy song, you know and I was also seeking ways to be creative. And I think at the time I was trying to write books, which is kind of ridiculous. And when you're 12 and you're setting out to like write a 200-page book, and like I would finish and it would just be like a nonsensical like stream of conscious attempts to like ape my favorite movies. So what ended up happening was I tried writing songs which are way more, you know, simple. I mean, obviously the first 100 songs you write are awful, but like, you got to write like 12 lines and you have a finished product, and then you learn three chords and you make it sound like a real thing. So it seemed like an easy way to be creative. And, it was at that age when I was really starting to get into like my dad's record collection, which like, that's all guitar music, sick guitar solos. You have like Rush and Deep Purple and Pink Floyd. So, and all those guys were pushing it all those years ago. So, um, that's kind of what got me into like playing music as like creative, and,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. And you just, you find new music and you find new ways to make music. You start playing in bands, and I started recording, and,
How old were you
actually,
when you started? How old were you when you started like playing music and then like getting into like bands and all that?
um, well, I started recording like from day one because I wanted to hear myself. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you play and you feel so good, but then you listen back and it's like, wait, you know what I mean? So, like, it took like a long time of like listening back to myself. And like, so I was already recording for a few years before I started playing in bands, which was just in like high school as like a thing to do. I realized I could impress people pretty early on, which was something that all I really had going for me was like good grades. And like you're not gonna go around telling people like, nah, I got good grades or whatever. So it's like it
Right.
feels good. It feels good when you're 15 to like be impressive. It's like it's less important now. Not important, but less important now. But like, you know, it felt nice to be able to do that. So I kind of like really got me jazzed on playing live early on, just an ego boost. But
No,
it,
that's
it's
awesome. I definitely relate to that for sure. Like you just need those kind of moments early on to like honestly boost up your confidence and like okay, I can do this, and then like to grow from there.
yeah.
So really cool. So this was interesting when I first started, talking to you, and when Dean introduced me to you, you said that you tuned a piano and you end up getting studio time. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it would have been like right around the time I started tuning pianos. I kind of my job, I was like working like landscaping, construction-y kind of things, and it ended for the season. My one of my bosses like semi-retired, and I met this guy at a bar at a gig, and he has a piano store, and I went down and I started learning how to tune pianos, fix pianos, and um, I started trying to get clients. And this studio here, I went and I tuned his piano, and he was like, yeah, like we could do like a little skill trade thing, and like I got like a partial day out of it. So I figured, okay, cool. Like I have this acoustic duo I've been doing with my friend Dan, kind of just songs that I had that weren't really like I wanted to bring to a rock band, and like were suited more for like the folk setup. And I figured, well, we'll go there and we'll record, bust out like maybe two or three. And like that kind of turned into like more studio time over the course of the spring and like a little bit in the summer. So kind of finished 10 songs just because it, we had like, I had written all these songs and it was like, let's just do it. So now it's two EPs. We're finishing up the second one. I'm mixing it today, or mixing part of it today.
Awesome. What's actually like how does one learn how to tune a piano? Because I'm a guitar player and I'm not a piano player. So how does like how do you learn how to tune a piano just
Huh.
from like doing it, or like what are the uh like quirks of it, I guess?
Well, so have you opened up a piano and like seen
Mm-hmm.
like so like it's like a lot of the notes, it's three strings per note and they like resonate like
Yeah.
in with each other. So you got to get a tuner or some kind of thing that'll tell you like, are you hitting the exact note right? You mute two of the strings or one of the string if it's one of the ones with two strings, and then you just get that perfectly in tune, and then you do two of them together, and you wait until the beats stop when you're turning the peg, and then you do the same thing for the third one, and then you do that 88 times. And then usually you have to go through one more time because when you tune it, like, not everything stays perfect. So yeah, it takes like 2 hours of concentrating. A lot of people don't really want to do that. Like even piano players, it's a lot because like it takes a couple hours, but it's like a couple of intense hours where you can't be like jerking off. You know what I mean? You can't just like go on your phone and like, I'm just gonna. So it works out. Like a lot of people want it done. It's something that like I feel like a lot of people could teach themselves how to do, but you know, they don't.
Right. It sounds like a cool trade to get into because like it sounds like not as many people are doing it or want to do it because it's so intense, more or less.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of cool. You get to meet musicians too. I think that's a key thing. Like I once the whole like pandemic thing starts to like, subside a little bit, like I'd like to do a little bit of I guess traveling, or like I'd like to live in like places for like, limited amounts of times. And I was thinking like tuning pianos could be a cool way to make that money. Oh, Andy's here. Say hi to Andy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, here. Andy's the engineer.
Oh, right on.
I'm doing a Zoom call right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I
Little
figured.
little cameo.
Yeah, give him a cameo.
No, I dig that. Hey, for real, if like the pandemic subsides, or excuse me, when it does subside, and you make your way through Northwest Ohio, feel free to say hi to Dean and I for us because we're both in Toledo. So
Hell yeah. I don't really know Ohio, but yeah, I mean I would love to play in Ohio, so.
yeah, we got a cool scene here. There's, I mean, some of my favorite people in Toledo are musicians, and if you came through, it'd be a really cool time. So once that happens, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool. So my next question is, so your latest single is "All My Ashes," which came out on November 20th. how'd you come up with the title "All My Ashes" and what does the song mean to you?
So usually when I write songs, they start with like melodies and then I try and come up with chords to match the melodies. And so like the words are like last. So usually it's I'm just muttering to myself until like words kind of form out of like a syllable stew. So that kind of just came out of that stew. And then I sort of work backwards from there. And it's like, okay, so I have this chorus that consists of 3 words. What could possibly be like the meaning of that? And ashes is something that it's something that gets left behind when something burns, So I kind of started to think about, um, like when you go from place to place or like group of people to a group of people or like lifestyle to lifestyle, like you leave parts of yourself behind. Maybe you burn the bridges, maybe you don't, but either way, like there's remnants of you left there. And that's kind of what I was trying to kind of sing about. Like I don't like to be too on the nose. I like to leave it to be kind of mysterious. Um a little, but open to interpretation, I guess more so. But that's kind of what I was trying to sing about, like sometimes you're a real asshole to people and sometimes you're like the light in someone's life for 2 months and that's it. And it's like, I wasn't gonna like go into like a million stories, so I was just trying to be like vague about it,
Hmm.
um, without being too opaque. And that's kind of what I was trying to say, like hoping that someday those what you leave behind is always good, you know, and that you find a place to rest, you know.
No, I like that. And it does make me think about like um, just different phases in my life. Whether it makes me think about who I was in high school and all the people I hung around with, or who I what I did in high school, and then the same thing with college and all my past and present relationships. So that it definitely made me think about you know who and what came in and out of my life, and the same thing with like different jobs I've had and all the different people I've worked with and what I've done. It makes me think about it really makes you reflect on how we kind of came to where we are now with all the people and things that came before. So
Yeah,
if that's a good way of putting it.
thank you.
No, for sure. So it's coming up on your next EP. Can you tell me a little bit more about the EP you have that All My Ashes will be featured on?
Yeah, so there's going to be 4 songs on that one. I
Okay.
recorded 10. So I have a second one that's going to have 6 songs, and that will be like later in the year, a little bit, maybe spring, summer. I'll start putting that stuff out. Got to be like, you know. Um, so I'm going to release one more song before I put out the EP. It's got a working title right now. It's probably going to end up being the actual title. It's called Rupee, and that was actually written way before any of these other songs. That I haven't settled on an exact date, but it's going to be a Friday and it's going to be either late January, early February. And that one's a little bit less like jaunty Americana and a little bit more like it's still folky, it's still acoustic. I'm based around the upright bass and the acoustic guitar, but there's a little bit more uh like drone in the background and it's a little bit trippier, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
And the other 2 songs kind of are like in the middle between those two. My friend Zach guests on one song called Daedalus, which is a little bit more out there. It's got like an ending that's like multiple saxophones playing like free jazz off of each other. And so the EP, I settled on a name finally, is going to be called An Obscure Moon for an Obscure World. Um, and that's that. I'm gonna put that out probably maybe like 4 or 5 weeks after I put out the second single. It's pretty fluid right now as to how like the exact days. But yeah, it's gonna be 4 songs, and it's gonna be kind of in the same vein as All My Ashes. I try and keep things like copacetic but like different sounding, you know what I mean? Like I don't want it to sound too much like a compilation, but I, you know, if you listen to like 4 or 5 songs and they all sound the same except one's maybe a little slower, it's like, well, what was the point? You know what I mean? You
Right.
could put all that shit behind like the best of those, you know, like you might as well like make them like cool, like all different, you know, like you're painting a different picture each time and it's like the same artist, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like it'd be lame if like a painter painted the same person for like every single portrait, you know, in the same background, you know, it's boring that way.
No, I totally agree, and to me, it's like an EP or album's like a book. It's like every chapter should be very distinct for each other from each other because a song can sometimes, capture a moment in your life or like maybe a vibe or just a feeling, and we all have different vibes, feelings, and memories, and it should be a compilation of different things throughout your life or different perspectives, and that's what makes up to me that's what makes up a good book because with every chapter you progress through a different story, and that's how I also view EPs and albums.
Yeah, I got into that kind of idea from writing screenplays in college, actually. I took those classes, you know, I was kind of doing film related things mostly towards the end at least. And I definitely took a lot of influence from like certain writer directors that I was really into, the way they'd kind of build this like vibe between every one of the, like Quentin Tarantino is like the classic example that like I'm sure everyone knows, but like it is, you know, David Lynch, Paul Thomas Anderson, Sam Mendes as a screenwriter, like, you know, that's kind of where I came from in terms of like trying to put together albums. I put together um one like pretty like conceptual album in the past, and I'd like to do it again in the near future. But I figured like, you know, put out some EPs with cool songs first and just pop it out there that way.
No, I like that. It's awesome. So following that, so like once like the EP is out, come January, January, February, what do you think will be on the horizon for the rest of 2021?
Another EP.
Another EP?
Yeah, I mean, like the next one's gonna be a little bit longer, and it's gonna have a little bit more instrumentation. Like we kind of threw like he has like 5 keyboards in this studio, and I'm like, I want to play all this. So like, you
Right.
know, there's Hammond, there's a harmonium, there's a pump organ, there's a Wurlitzer, there's an acoustic piano, there's a Rhodes, and I, you know, used them all. There's a Moog, I used that, and you know, guitars. This is still based around guitars, you know what I mean? There's
Hmm.
one 11.5 minute song that I tracked with a drummer who'd never played it before. He fucking was a champ, you know. We actually did, that was cool. We did that live in the room, upright bass. I was playing a nylon string acoustic and he was playing drums quiet. And we just
Hmm.
like blasted through this 11-minute song. Um,
That's
and
sweet.
I'm pretty pumped about that. I feel like if I'm gonna get anyone to listen to that shit, like I gotta like make a fucking like video or something to like watch along with it, you know. So that's kind of in the early planning stages right now, actually.
Awesome. Uh, in the event that in 2021 things clear up and uh we can like do like shows again, are you definitely do you plan on definitely doing that or just kind of taking it in strides, I guess?
Well, yeah, I do intend on playing live. I don't know if it's gonna be like it was next year, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't think it's gonna like reach like 2019 level of like we can just go into dive bars and wild out probably until 2022, but like I'm sure there's going to be some opportunities for some sweet like showcase gigs outside at least, you know, in
Hmm.
the summer. um I also have an organ trio that does like performances like that, so it'll be if live performances come back, I'll be pretty damn busy, you know, either playing instrumental jazz funk or my brand of folk rock, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
um, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Cool. That was all the questions I had. Is there anything else you'd like to add or plug, or what would you like to add?
I wish I'd planned for that. I don't really know. I mean, like, I guess feel free to check out like Western Mass music, like if there's an easy way to like access that information, like
Mm-hmm.
we have a cool scene out here, like a very diverse thing, like, a lot of that kind of stuff. So
No,
yeah.
for sure. I'm all about checking out different scenes and around the country because everybody has their own little thing. Like Toledo has their own thing, but I love seeing like, Western Mass is doing, what Philadelphia is doing, and there's a ton in Los Angeles, but there's some we've never even heard of, and that's the beauty of the internet is like there's more bands than ever, but at the same time there's more access to bands now than ever. So everybody's home right now, so everybody has time to check out all these different cities and the artists they have to offer, like yourself in Western Mass. So,
Yeah. Cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
Well, this is. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you go ahead. This lag is driving me crazy, man.
No, you're all good. So this is kind of like our uh, we call this type of show high praise for Lspr PR. So we wanted to give you JJ some high praise, and it's really been awesome working with you. And All My Ashes is out now, and your EP will be on the horizon for the next month or two. So we're definitely excited to hear that from you and continue to work with you. So just really appreciate you having you on, talking to you, and best of luck with the rest of the year, the holidays, and leading into 2021, and hopefully it'll be a brighter year for yourself and all of us.
A little bit. Cool.